Tori Petry, Twentyman and Mike O'Hara here in Allen Park doing our season review series where we look back at the prior year. We have broken down the offense, the defense, the special teams, and today we are looking at the Lions 2018 rookie class. Guys, it just makes sense for us to start with the Lions' #1 pick from 2018, Frank Ragno. What did you think of him in 2018?
I thought he was good and solid. He had some ups and downs like any offensive lineman does, really. They're not perfect, and especially for a rookie, but I thought just he went the distance. He played every snap except once, and Tim, interviewed him. He knows more about it than I do, but I thought it was a really good start to what I think is going to be a good career.
Yeah, I talked to him. He missed one snap in that second to last game because his shoe essentially is disintegrated from under him. They had to run to the locker room, couldn't get in time to miss one snap. He was hot about it. I think those guys take a lot of pride in being available to their teammates and coaches every week, and Frank was that. And you talked about the ups and downs. I think it was a little bit of a slow start week 1, week 2, but week 3 he was perfect against the Patriots. And look, if there's anybody who can put a scheme together to kind of combat a rookie, it would be Bill Belichick, and he was really good there. He struggled against Aaron Donald and the Rams, but who doesn't struggle against Aaron Donald and the Rams? So, I think throughout he was very solid, and I thought it was telling after the season. We talked to TJ Lang, and he had a lot of good things to say about Ragno, how, he was very willing to sit up in a meeting and ask questions, and Lang kind of took him under his wing, and Lang said that Ragno has some all-pro potential. Now, there's a long way to go for that. But if anybody knows good guard play, it's TJ Lang. And for a veteran player to say that about a rookie, that obviously says something.
And the results are undeniable. They ran the ball better. They had a running game, and there were many times during the season when the Lions ran the ball when they wanted to, not when they had to. Big difference.
Yeah, we talked about the Lions' investment in the run game. Obviously, Frank Ragno was part of that. Another part of that was Kerryon Johnson, their pick in the second round. Obviously, we talked about him in our offensive video. He was a really big part of the Lions' offensive efforts this year.
Well, let's go back to draft day, the second day of the draft last April, and the Lions trade up to get the 40th pick. And why are they doing that? Now you know why. They had it really. I'm not going to say he's going to be an all-pro running back, but it's a franchise running back, and if he stays healthy, first he has to get healthy, but if he stays healthy, he'll be their back for a long time.
Yeah, he averaged 5.4 yards per carry. That was really, really good, second in the league. But the thing that impressed me the most, too, was his ability to catch the ball. I think that was a little bit of an unknown coming out of Auburn. I think he had 1 year where he caught 24 passes in 12 games, so that wasn't a big part of his game, but he had over 30 catches in 10 games here, showed some elusiveness in the open field and ability to kind of control his body along the sideline in the pass game, and I think he's a legit 3-down back in this league, and now we're seeing a lot of those guys are kind of those top guys in the league, the guys that can stay in for all 3 downs and do things both as a runner and a pass catcher.
You see that around the league. Leonard Fournette, a high draft pick of Jacksonville, can't stay on the field as a receiver, and that's a great value if you can do both because it makes your offense less predictable.
Well, let's talk about some of their acquisitions on defense. We talked about them in our defensive video. Tracy Walker and Deshaun Hand, 2 guys that really showed a lot of promise in their rookie years.
Tracy Walker's a guy that I like. I like his frame. I like his length. I like that he's not afraid to go make plays. Sometimes rookies can be a little bit tentative. Not him. You look at that San Francisco play was a great example.
Yeah.
Of maybe, some other rookies just stay behind so they make sure they make that tackle. No, he jumped that route, and if not for a holding away from the play, he affects that game and they maybe go win it. And so, I just like everything about him, his mentality. He wants to work. He's got the athleticism and the frame. I think he could be a pretty good player in this league.
And we get to the 4th round with Deshaun Hand. I really liked him. One thing I questioned about him when they drafted Deshaun was, coming out of high school, I think it was in New Jersey, he was one of the top-rated defensive linemen in all of high school football. And he never really showed that against Alabama. I always wonder, well, if why didn't you take the next step? Well, he took the next step when he got to pro football. Not semi-pro football, but pro football. And he was really a good player. He got highly graded by Pro Football Focus and a lot of other people who do that kind of thing. I think they really got to find there as a starting left end.
And I talked to him right after the season concluded, just asked him, hey, what's something that you want to work on? What's this offseason? He says, I want to be fast. I'm working on my speed. I want to be blazing fast, he said. And I thought, he wants to be quick off the ball, be able to run down people. And I like that a rookie has a very specific goal, very specific idea of what can take his game to the next level. For Hand, it's really going to be working on speed and explosiveness, and I like that.
And he has big playability, too. He's one of the ones that caused a fumble against Aaron Rodgers in the game, and then caused a fumble in the loss to Green Bay. The ball squirted back. If the Lions could have recovered that ball, they would have beaten the Green Bay Packers, too, unfortunately. unfortunately, they couldn't get off the field.
The Dallas game, right?
What did I say?
Green Bay, yeah.
I said Green Bay once. I meant Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas
we
Cowboys.
know where you were headed.
Exactly. Exactly.
I feel like I'm getting woozy here.
Well, later on in the season, Tyrell Crosby, one of the Lions' later picks, ended up being a key part after some injuries happened. What did you think about him stepping up and filling in there?
Well, I think on draft day, Bob Quinn came in after that pick and said, look, tackle wasn't a need. They had Rick Wagner, they had Taylor Decker, but he was so far and away better than anyone else left on their board that they had to take him. It was a value pick. And I think, that just goes to show, what type of player they think Tyrell Crosby can be. He was he's swing tackle for this team last year. He did step in and play some tackle when there were injuries, but I think he's a terrific depth player, and if something happens to Wagner or Decker, injury-wise or roster-wise or who knows, I think they've got a guy that they're grooming that can step in there, a guy that they really like.
Yeah, and I think that's it's pretty good when you can get you talk about guys who got rated higher than their draft. They did that 3 years ago with Ashawn Robinson, or actually 2 years ago with Ashawn Robinson. Kind of struggled for a year and a half, but look how he developed. He looks like a legit first-round draft pick now.
Well, we talk sometimes on these rookie videos about undrafted rookie free agents. Zach Zinner has been one that we've talked about before this year. I think Brandon Powell deserves a little bit of a mention after his Week 17 performance.
Yeah, I think so. I think he made the team in the preseason, sort of like Tion Green, the running back, did a year ago. Really, he worked and won a place on the roster with his performance. Didn't do much. Didn't look all that great. And a little bit of playing time he got, but I thought closed out the season with a bang and looked good. I think he's got a future with this team at some level.
Well, his first start, and that was his first start, his first real opportunity to play significant snaps, and he made the most of it. And look, I think one thing he showed was an ability to run after the catch, something they really hadn't had since Golden Tate was traded. And so if he can develop and continue that, there's always a place for a guy that can make plays after the catch.
Yeah, and one thing about it, he sort of had just a good feel for pro football. When he was playing against the Green Bay Packers, he didn't know if the reserve. He knows who they are, but look, they're professional football players to him. The Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. And I asked him what it was like. It was sort of like a college environment there with 80,000. He said, yeah, it reminded me of playing in the SEC, but it was colder.
I like that a lot. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to our season review videos. That is your recap on the rookies. You can find the recaps on all other areas of this team on the Lions website. Stick with us during the offseason because we will have much more coverage of the draft and more. For DetroitLions.com, Twentyman and Mike O'Hara, I'm Tori Petry.